talked about different means of knowledge. How do you see me? It is through the sense perception or the direct perception, known as pratyaksha. And then another means of knowledge we talked about. What was that? Remember? Anuman, or the inference. Remember the stock example? Smoke and fire. If there is a smoke, that could imply that there is a fire. Nobody has gone inside sun to talk about the properties of the sun, but we know that. All the scientific discoveries are inference. And what was the third means of knowledge? Vedas, or the scriptures, Shabda Pramana. We talked about that. So now the problem is, if Vedanta is a means of knowledge, please be careful, right? You don't know yourself. As a result, I suffer. That's what the first statement was. Then, if I don't know myself, I need to have a means of knowledge to know myself. And we said there are three means of knowledge, and Vedanta is a means of knowledge to know myself. If Vedanta is a means of knowledge, how can I use Vedanta to know myself? So for that we said there are some prerequisites, and we call that as adhikaratvam, right? Sadhanas chatushtaya sambandha. That was the fourth topic. We talked about viveka, we talked about vairagya, we talked about the shatka sampatti, sixfold disciplines, and last we talked about mumukshutva. So without this, you may study Vedanta, I may study Vedanta, but I said that would be a paroksha anubhuti. It would be an indirect experience. If I describe about Mount Everest, you may get a knowledge, but that is not an experiential knowledge. It's only a theoretical knowledge. So now, how can I make sure that the theoretical knowledge I have about me becomes practical? Because there is always a difference between the theoretical knowledge I know about myself and my own practical experience. The theoretical knowledge told by Vedanta is your Atman, your Tattvamasi, your infinite, you are the fountain and source of all happiness. But what is my real experience?
Nothing of it.
I am limited, I am suffering, I have pain, I have all sort of problem, and I am extremely limited by all means. Space-wise I am limited, time-wise I am limited, money-wise always limited, right? And also every scenario I am limited. But what I am told is what? I am Atman, I am the source of all happiness. So apparently there is a difference between the theory and my experience. The theory tells me that the earth moves around the sun. But practically, what is my experience? The sun goes around the earth. So whenever there is a difference between the theory and my experience, I need to reconcile that. So how can I reconcile? How do I bring that theory into my experience? So for that, this adhikaratvam is mandatory. But now what is the question? So adhikaratvam, how do I gain this adhikaratvam? Viveka, vairagya, shatka sampatti, and mumukshutva. How do I gain? We said there are two factors that is blocking the adhikaratvam for any individual. The first one is malam, or we don't have chitta shuddhi, the mental purity. So what is the solution for that? Karma yoga. So when you do karma yoga, it flushes out all the impurities from your mind. So we defined karma yoga as proper work with proper attitude. What exactly is the proper work? Avoid tamasic action. It is okay to do rajasic action, but make sure that we are doing sattvic action, which is panchamahayana. If you remember, we developed systematically. So karma yoga is going to give us the chitta shuddhi, but the chitta shuddhi alone is not going to give us the adhikaratvam. So the next thing, what is that? Upasana yoga. Because what is the goal of Upasana Yoga? Chitta Sthiti, stability and control of the mind. So the Upasana Yoga has to be applicable at the 4 level, if you remember. First level, body level, right? So I quoted the Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter. What is the body level discipline? Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta sopnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. That is the physical level discipline. And then sense organs level, we need to have discipline. Then speech level, we need to have discipline. Anudvegakaram vakya, satyam priyam hitam. 17th chapter of Gita. So disciplines are required at the body level, at the sensory level, sense organs level, at speech level. And then the final discipline is for the mind. So all the meditation techniques comes under the Upasana Yoga. If you take the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the 3 chapters of Patanjali Yoga Sutra is only Upasana Yoga in detail. So then Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter is classic example of Upasana Yoga. So we studied, right? Just now we studied the 6th chapter of the Gita. So it is full of upasanas. Krishna talks about all the meditation techniques. Even that meditation techniques I broadly classified into 4 types, if you remember. Relaxation, concentration, expansion, and value. I'm just repeating because the flow will be clear, right? So even if it is taking 10 minutes, it's really worth. We need to know where exactly we are. So we know that by doing this Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, we will get Adhikara. But Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga are not a direct means for knowing yourself. If I have ignorance, the only means is knowledge. Remember the story of 10th man?
Sure.
In that 10th man story, they were panic, they were extremely painful and in a hysterical mode. At that time, if the passerby comes and tells you that you are the 10th man, he won't get it. So there has to be a means to make him calm. So at that point of time, he can just give him some breathing exercise, ask him to relax a little bit, and then tell him that you are the 10th man, it will work. So like that, for the teachings of the Vedanta to work, first you have to have Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Sthiti. But once you have it, if the passerby asks him about the meditate about the 10th man will not come. If you ask him to pray, he will not come. Any sadhanas will not give us the moksha directly. The direct means of moksha is only knowledge. This is one misunderstanding a lot of people have. I just wanted to clarify that. This is one misunderstanding a lot of people have. A lot of people think that Karma Yoga will take you to moksha. Bhakti Yoga will take you to moksha. Jnana Yoga is just a parallel pillar. Some people think that even Hatha Yoga will take you to moksha. This is the wrong understanding.
That facilitates the acquisition of knowledge.
Correct. Exactly.
Nanya Panta Vidyateya Naya.
Yeah. And 3rd chapter, Krishna tells Dividha Nishta, the 2-step approach is there. Yeah. So all the yogas will give you something called Jnana Yogyata Prapti. The qualification to gain knowledge. And once you get that, it's easy. So now, having said that, I said, now I can give you the knowledge, but that knowledge will be an aparoksha and paroksha anubhuti till you gain the Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Sthiti. And nobody can teach you that. You yourself have to do that. But we started elaborating what is that knowledge we are talking. So the knowledge is, we wanted to understand who we are. But the methodology or the prakriya followed by Vedanta is what? It tells you who you are not. Neti, right? Na iti. This is not, this is not. So for that, the most powerful teaching methodology of Vedanta is known as Drik, Drishya, Viveka. So we need to understand, right? Each of these terminologies, where exactly it fits into. So if I ask you, means in the end, we will just take each of these words and Tell what exactly it is. Just see how we know that, because that will be very interesting.
So the language is kind of like Krishna, right? Like Krishna was also saying that you were not here. That other kind of, he was not giving you that you were here all the time, but he was telling you the other fashion.
Double
right?
negative.
Yeah, double negative.
Yeah.
Same kind of
Because double negative is used to emphasize something, right? Grammatically, double negative is not a good thing. Yeah?
The reason why it starts is that because you can easily connect to what you see first,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
They see whatever you see, that is not you.
Yeah.
Then you prove that you're not, right? And then you go on to the next one.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. So Drishya Viveka is one of the most powerful teaching methodology. In Sanskrit, we call it as prakriya. It's the methodology used to know myself. Very powerful. And there is a book itself. So probably after this we'll study one of such books before we go to Upanishad. Drishya Viveka, I really like it. We should read that book. It's beautiful. Yeah. Shankaracharya's. So Drishya Viveka, we were trying to see who am I? Who am I not? That is what. So it talks about the three levels of perception. First, what is everybody's experience? I am seeing you, or you are hearing me. So he is smelling that, or he is touching that. That's my experience. There, Vedanta asks you one question. That is correct. External object is the seen, you are the seer. But wait a minute. What? One more level. What exactly is the instrument that sees you? Is the eyes. So the image in the eyes is what you get from the external object. So what happens to this image in the eyes? It will be represented as a mental object. Remember we talked about the whole science.
Right.
So for that mental object, so mind is the seer, whereas the image in the eye is the seen. Now the mental object is the seen, consciousness is the seer. So right now, see, you are seeing me. Really speaking, what exactly you are seeing? You are seeing a mental event created in your mind. That is what you are directly experiencing. Correct?
That mental event,
that is exactly called Vritti's definition is that mental event is known as Vritti in Sanskrit. So what exactly I am directly perceiving? It is the Vrittis. So the rule was what? The observer is always different from the observed. So who am I? That which sees the mental events is the real me. That is the conclusion we got there. So now to elaborate this topic further, we said there are different dimensions of this by jiva. When you talk about jiva means what? Comes from the root jiv, means the one who lives. That's what it is. So right now, this is the entity that lives. This has multiple dimensions. So we took three different aspects in 3 different weeks. The first dicing and slicing we saw was there are 3 bodies for every jiva. The first body is known as
Gross body.
Physical body. Physical body.
Okay.
So what was the speciality of that physical body? It bonds, when it born, like at the time of my birth.
Right.
And it dies at the time of my
Death.
in between it grew, it modifies. That was exactly what the Gita verse we saw. Right. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara.
Right.
Tatha dehantara prapti. When dehantara prapti means what? Deha means body, andara means after, prapti means acquisition. So acquisition of the new body. What exactly is what exactly is acquiring the new body? Sukshma Sharira.
Who is the acquirer of the body?
Acquirer of the body is Sukshma Sharira.
Okay.
A lot of people call it as Atma. No. That is, these are the finer differences we need to understand. Atma is not acquiring a new body. That's why these three different bodies are important. Sukshma Sharira can be loosely translated as soul. Because somebody was asking what is soul? Where exactly the soul can fit in? Answer is nowhere. But if you want to connect somewhere, it can be connected to subtle body. That's why I was telling I was not using the word soul. That's okay. So Sukshma Sharira, we talked about that. What is the time the Sukshma Sharira born? Prabhava, right?
This particular topic is like intellectually very pleasing. This is so.
Yeah.
I would like to talk more on that.
Yeah.
Okay, then what happens? Then what happens?
Like why we are studying
What are the attributes of
Yeah.
Sukshma Sharira?
Yeah.
We would like to know more on
19
that.
attributes. We discussed that in detail, right?
The only confusion that arises here is like, obviously we are clear with what happens here, but then, in our, the way we do things, like say, somebody passes away, right? You call his, you call his Atma or whatever,
Yeah.
come back here and you do the services to him to
You're
please
calling
him.
it, you're calling Sukshma Sharira.
You call it
They're
Sushma Sharira.
calling that as my Atma as
But the only issue with that is the Sushma Sharira is already passed on to another body, right?
Not yet.
no, not that.
No. Once he dies, that's fine. I mean, not that point. I meant, like, say after 10 years or whatever, right? It's already passed on to somebody else. But you keep doing these services every year and saying that I'm doing this for my parents or my grandparents.
I have only one word, right? It's one Bhagakrita Vesham. Chitracharya tells that.
Right.
Let's not give scriptural sanctions to that, right?
True.
The Shraddha is different. We'll talk about that later.
But I will answer that question. I want to.
Yeah.
I will answer that. That will satisfy your mind.
Yeah. So any such questions you can ask Vijay. Vijay had gone through almost all these questions and bombarded Swami Tadatmananda with all these
No, because
questions.
they say once you die,
Got your question. Yeah,
you call him in the fashion of a crow, right? And you call your grandparents who are in the fashion of a
But
crow.
that crow is only in Kerala. North India and all.
The crow doesn't eat, right?
Yeah. Any. So every state has its own rules, but that doesn't. Let's not put that into Vedanta.
I mean, when you learn all these things and you
Yeah.
know what it is, and all that kind of
So
doesn't
what
make
happens,
any sense. Right?
what happens to the jiva? The jiva at that point.
The jiva, what exactly is jiva we are talking, right? So the jiva, initially I said jivi, I said like it is a combination of physical body, subtle body, and
Causal body.
Yeah.
causal body, and enlivened by Atma. So at the time of death, what is going to happen? The physical body will go, but the subtle body will find another body. And how it does, there is a lot of intellectual discussion. You want to hear? But we might deviate a little bit. If you want to hear, I can talk.
Sure.
Out of curiosity.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll give a shorter version because otherwise this itself is a topic of 2-3 days which we can talk about later.
It's not
This is
Yama
called-
and Chandragupta and all those guys, right?
This is called law of karma. We've heard of that, right? The karma means every action you do. It need not be physical action. Vivekananda brilliantly explains this in his commentary on Yoga Sutra. He tells every act you do, right? Every word you speak, every emotion you entertain, right? Every thought you make, what happens? You think that is gone. It will leave a footprint. I'm quoting exact words of Vivekananda. It tells it leaves a footprint in your unconscious mind with a possibility for a future thought, emotion, word, or action. So anything you do, it puts a footprint in your mind. So at the time of death, what is going to happen? All these karmas are there. This is what is called as karma. Karma is a word which has multiple meaning, right? One context it means it is the action. One context it means it is the impression. There are so many meanings. If you're interested, read the book, the lecture on Karma Yoga by Vivekananda. It is there in his complete words. It's a brilliant way. Language wise, it is amazing. It tells like when you go to a rough ocean Atlantic, you will see that huge waves coming and dashing at the rocks. Look at the power. You can generate electricity. But if you really dice and slice those waves, right? These waves are constituted of what?
Water.
Small bits of water. What exactly is the effect of one small bit of water?
Nothing.
Nothing, but cumulatively, it can have a huge power. So individual karma, you think, okay, I'll compromise today, do some mistake. So that's okay, but over a period of time, it will accumulate it and it will have a lot of power. So this karma, there are three types of karma. One is called Sanchita karma. Second bucket of karma is called Prarabdha karma. And the third bucket of karma is called Agami karma. So imagine that like the subtle body is born at the time of the cycle. So thereafterwards, you have life after life after life. So every life will accumulate some karma into, and that global basket of karma is known as Sanchita karma. So at the time of the death of the physical body, right? What happens? Let's say that the Sanchita karma has 1,000 karmas. I'm just making it up. It's not like that.
Sure.
So at the time of death, what it will do? It will pick up a subset of karma from that basket. And that karma is the cause for the next birth. It is known as Prarabdha karma. So Prarabdha karma, depending upon the subset of karma that is pulled from the basket of Sanchita karma, you will get a body. Imagine that it is a body of a Ramana Maharshi or a Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, but the Prarabdha demanded cancer for them. Even after enlightenment, they cannot escape from that. Prarabdha karma means once it's like an arrow that is gone out of the bow. Yeah. Whether you get enlightenment or anything, you will have to go through whatever that is the prarabdha of that body. We will see this lot in chapter 8, but it's a very trailer. So but then what happens? Because of the prarabdha, I got this birth. So right now, look at me. I'm doing a lot of actions. This might be a good action, but after this, I might be doing something bad. So all the goods and bads will accumulate. And what this karma that occurs during the execution of the prarabdha karma is known as Agami karma. At the time of death, what happens? All these Agami karma will be part of the Sanchita karma. And from the Sanchita karma, what is going to happen? The new birth will come. Now, at the time of enlightenment, the question is what? What is going to happen to this Sanchita karma? Because if the Sanchita karma, it's a heavy basket, is that going to demand another birth for me? No. Because enlightenment, what happens? This karma becomes roasted. It's like a seed gets roasted. So thereafterwards, no issues. But still you have to continue the prarabdhas. But this is an intellectual topic. We will talk about that later. 6th chapter. At the end of 6th chapter, Arjuna asks a question. I'll tell that much and then go to consciousness. Arjuna asks an interesting question. Okay, I know I have faith in yoga. I'm doing effort. But so when I committed to yoga, right, I'll be leaving all the worldly activities, all the bars and dance and parties. And I'm doing yoga here. But you're saying that only 1 in a million get enlightenment. At the time of my death, if I don't get enlightened, what is going to happen? I'm neither here nor there. There is a technical word used for this. Yoga prashta. Yoga prashta. This is the word Krishna uses. Krishna tells, don't worry. None of your effort is going to be wasted. So he gives a few verses. Did you get? We covered that in the Gita class. That's another Gita class. That's fine. So this is what it is. So now coming back to the topic. There is a physical body, there is a subtle body, and there is a causal body. And then what did we convey? I am not physical body. That the only reason, because intellectually so much appealing, the only reason we are talking about is the fact that I am not physical body. So at that point of time, I said like, I have it, I am that. There's a difference. I own a car. I need that car for my transaction. Without that car, I will suffer. The problems of the car will impact me, but I'm not the car. That is the attitude for the body. Body is the most powerful gadget given to you. Without that physical body, remember when I talked about that, I put a who can experience it. The physical body can be experienced by me and others, whereas the subtle body is only experienceable to me only, right? So without the physical body, I cannot transact with the world. So it is the most powerful equipment I have, or the gadget I have. But that's not me. Because when the physical body dies, the subtle body will continue. So that is why Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehandara praptir thiraha tatra na mukhyati. So in this physical body has different changes. It has Shaishavam, Balyam, Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Vardhakyam. There are different states. But there was no change for the individuality, right? You are Rajesh Menon when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Now also you are that. If I take two photos, people may not even recognize.
Sure.
But something that was continuing. Just like that, even when this physical body drops, the Dehi means what? The owner of the Deha. That is the Dehi. Dehin, that is the correct usage. The Dehin will get a new body. So when Gita talks about that, since you studied these three in detail, you know, right, what exactly transmigrates. I got 15 queries last 1 week. People are confused with subtle body and Atma and physical body. So I told everybody, I'm going to tell everybody that this Sunday we are going to take a break and we are going to talk about these three in detail, because this is exactly the reason why we are studying this. Without this, like the scriptures, unlocking the scriptures may not be that easy. So you are not physical body, you are not subtle body, you are not causal body. Then what else we said? We said we are not the functions of the body. We are not Annamaya Kosha. We are not the life energy. Annamaya means physical aspects. Pranamaya means the life energy. Manomaya means the emotional me. Vijnanamaya means the intellect in me. Anandamaya means the means the Karana Sharira part of me. None of them is me. Then we said, just to demonstrate that, right? We said, from Mandukya Upanishad, we collected the Avastatraya. What is Avastatraya? See, your identification with which body clearly gives you different experience. So we said every individual goes through three different states of experience. Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. So when in Jagrat, who feeds the Chitta Vrittis? Remember, this is to prove that I am only seeing Chitta Vritti. In the state of Jagrat, my sense organs feed the Chitta Vritti predominantly.
Right.
In Swapna, my mind feeds the Chitta Vritti, right? My memory feeds the Chitta Vritti. When you dream, when you are in a dream, you don't dream, I know that. But other people, when they dream, what happens? Do they recognize that they are in a dream?
They do, yeah.
No, only after the dream.
I mean, yeah.
There is a technical term for the other dream. It's called lucid dream, like partially sleep, waking. But if you are in a good dream, that dream is the reality. I told you, right? If in the dream you had seen something and afraid, when you wake up, it happens. So this state of the mind even affects our physiology. So I quoted a book in the Gita class. It's called Mind Over Medicine. It's a very powerful book. In that book, there's a case study is being described. One person has multiple personality. These are not just retold stories. These are stories with evidence. Right? This is clinically proven. So under controlled environment, repeatable mode, these tests were done. There are scholarly written articles on this topic. So you can refer this book by Lisa Rankin. So in this particular case, you will understand, because just to understand, you are not the experienced you. One person has split personality or multiple personality. In one personality, he has diabetes.
Ah.
In the other personality, he do not have. Can you believe?
But that affects in physiology too. When,
Even the
body-
mind means this is what she's trying to prove in that book. The entire book, she's saying that your physiology can be controlled by the state of your mind. He tells like there is a chemistry. Your state is a chemistry. So that chemistry is determined by your mind. When somebody curses you, what is going to happen? The brain will react in a particular way. It will put the cortisol and all the stress hormones into your system. That times there is one chemistry. Suppose somebody love you and hug you and kiss you and give you a lot of things. What happens? What is that hormones, Vijay? Happy hormones? I forgot.
Melatonin something?
Melatonin is for sleep. There are three or four hormones are there. I'll look and tell you. That
Endorphins?
endorphins, yeah,
Endorphins.
endorphins is there. So endorphins will come, and it will have a different chemistry. Even there is another study on the genealogy. Like there is a famous study. So they tell like, see these genes, right? Vijay will be much more equipped than me to answer these things. I believe that the DNA has thousands of possibilities. How a DNA can express itself.
These are all will come under epigenetics.
Epigenetics, correct. Epigenetic studies. That's exactly what it is. So the DNA will convert into means it will move to RNA, and that how the proteins. What exactly is the permutation combination that is come?
Mhm.
Typically, we blame for every negative character. We blame parents, right? We got the genes from them, but the base gene, how it can express itself, can be controlled by your mental state. So that's why I said the subtle body is extremely powerful. Physical body is a set of possibilities. The subtle body will adjust itself, and depending upon that, your behavior will change. There is hundreds of studies in this epigenetics, correct. So this is another interesting topic. Those who are interested, you can study. And then there is a study on regeneration. Regeneration, like University of Manchester have done several studies. There's an Indian scientist. His name is K.M. Mani. He had done a lot of research on this particular topic. It tells most of the cells in our body will regenerate in 7 years. Except a few cells, all the other cells will go away. So practically we are a new person. If we are physical, right? The whole thing is changed. But do you feel that? So that's what the point is. So the Avasthatraya is a classic demonstration in your experience to see that what exactly is the mental state you are identified with, or what exactly is the mental events that are visible to you is going to determine your experience. It is not the physical body. I'm spending some more time just to make this is theoretically very easy, but the moment you realize this, the change that is going to happen in you is going to be tremendous. That's what I'm telling. So you are not the physical body, but you have the physical body. I have this favorite phone of mine. Without this phone, like somebody was telling me that I feel handicapped. Not me, somebody was telling. I'm sure all these teenager kids, right? If you take the phone away, they feel that they are handicapped. Some people, for example, if I commute to work in a car, imagine my car has problem. Yes, it's a problem I need to address. That is the next verse of Gita Krishna tells. I am Atma, that doesn't mean that the body is problem I can ignore and go. If the body has a problem, I have a problem, but it's a problem I have to address. There's a difference. One is, I have a problem. Means, I am going through a problem. The other one is, I have a problem to address.
The tool has a problem.
Yeah, I'm going to use one language. This is not a language play, but just listen to this, right? Feeling sadness is unavoidable.
True.
But being sad we can avoid. Feeling means you are feeling, you are seeing sadness in our mind as a mental activity. But if I identify myself with that sadness, that is being in sadness. That's different. So this is the teaching of the Vedanta. So, but before that, we need to understand. So, we found that we are not the three bodies, we are not the five functionalities. We identified that the same me goes through multiple states, the three states. And one state I experience the external world, one state I experience the internal world, and the third state I don't experience anything. That is a deep sleep. So the experiencer should be different, because whatever that is feed comes to my mind. If I play a CNN, that is the channel I'm watching. But if I change that to a short time, the whole things will change. So if the feed changed from the external world to the internal world, I was experiencing both. And when there was no feed, I was experiencing that also as deep sleep. But then one natural, logical thinking answer is, I am different from all these things. So then who am I? That is what the definition of Atma. So Atma means what? So this is, we'll see. So this much
But
introduction.
the only issue is you only identify yourself as you, right? I mean, like, I only know me as Rajesh Menon.
Correct.
Like, my subtle body, say, moves on. My me does not pass on. My me is gone with me, with my physical body.
Correct. But Rajesh Menon is the physical body. That's it.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so like, my karmas and my this and all that
Yeah.
stuff is
Because
on.
past life you might be David Smith, right?
Right.
Before you might be a tree.
No. When you
Yeah.
say, you realize that you are not, Rajesh Menon, you are somebody else. You have a different, different body, as like a subtle body. How do you identify that with yourself?
No, I think, see, this phone is Rajesh's iPhone.
Right.
It's
But
not
that's a
Rajesh.
physical.
But see, the entire world is Rajesh's iPhone. So that Rajesh's iPhone is different from Rajesh.
So,
Yeah, please,
the
please.
so-called what you're saying, there's a myth, it doesn't exist.
To me, I don't exist really, right? I only.
No.
Question is asking.
Very good question. Yeah.
So that is actually the way, the same question I asked in a multiple example. One example I got from Shantandaji was that it's like an ice. Right now you are like an ice, right? Now if you put it in water, it dissolves completely, that is. So when you truly identify that the so-called ego is the one that speaks, that is, right? And that is basically non-existent, that is. It's mind, or mind making, that is. The mind's I, that is.
So I, the me, is not really existent at all.
Exactly.
It exists at a relative level.
Relative level, that is.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
see, right? I cannot say that it doesn't exist, because you're sitting here, you're talking to me. So how can I say that you don't exist? Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's relative.
Yeah.
So the thing is that right now our identification is with that relative system. What we are trying to do is, yes, we are making sure that that relative reality is accepted and acknowledged. With that, we are saying that we have a higher identification.
Yeah.
So
You can even prove yourself, that is.
So,
The kind of person you were there 5 years ago, for example, so much of excess ego, Darwin, you are probably a fraction of that today.
Yeah.
But
next week,
actually,
that is the topic, identification.
But when you're reborn,
Yeah.
do you have a choice where you can be reborn, or is it pure and accident?
It's pure karma. But there are something that can happen. There are a lot of wrong teaching. Right? There is a common Hindu belief that your last thought is going to determine the next karma. Not at all.
Yes.
What Krishna clarifies that in the 8th chapter. So we will see that. If that is the case, so it's so easy.
I mean, that's what
So-
Christians do, right? At the end of the thing, if you ask for forgiveness,
Yes.
you can go to heaven.
Not just Christians.
No, but then the you of, you, like you said, do I have choice?
I don't
What
have
do I
choice.
born? But like, you are not you, right? So,
No, but
No, the Sukshma Sharira, see.
no, I understand, but like, I am choosing the next birth because I think I am me, right? If I am not me, then I don't really have a choice. It's like so there is a cycle happening
Let
here.
me tell you one thing. The moment you have that identification who you are truly, there is no rebirth afterwards. Okay? So moksha, after moksha, there is no rebirth. Now, the very fact that you are reborn indicates that your identification is with physical body and subtle body. So that is negated.
But to use like in a colloquial language, to rephrase what Rajesh is, that his question is, when I go to the next body or next life, for example, I should remember this life, for example. Only then the so-called I exist there.
Right.
Then what is the point? Otherwise, that's his question.
Yeah.
So is that your question? Like what will happen to Rajesh?
No, what it's not. No. So the me does not really play a significance at all. Is what I'm saying. So if you have a say there is a cell, right? The cell dies and it's reborn. You give the cell a name. Now it is a me, right? So if I give that cell Rajeshman in the name, right? Now that cell has a prominence. It says I am somebody. Now if I don't, give a name to it, then it's like the subtle body. It's just getting reborn and reborn and reborn and reborn.
That's exactly
So
what it is.
only when you give a name to it, then there is that I thing coming up.
Correct. That you are coming to the teaching itself.
Which is the point of that. Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
It
when
takes time to
you're
become-
born,
Yeah.
when you're born, you don't have an identification, right? But once you're given a name, that name
That
is
gives
what
you the
you
right-
That's what I said. Like I put the name for the phone. Means I can put say any name, right?
Right.
I can give any nice name. I can take care of that phone. Eventually, what is going to happen? When iPhone 13 comes or 12 comes, what I'll buy the 12, and all the software will be remigrated. And now the iPhone syncing is exactly like the remigration. You can just bring the two phones together. It will ask you want to migrate it. Click, boom. The other phone is dead. This phone is there. That's a very good example.
Very simple to answer this question. This is whatever you're asking, everything. These are all memory based.
Right.
Memory is a material based.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
All material is gone. Everything is gone. Pretty much.
Then you suddenly realize you're nobody.
Exactly. But that you see, still you won't accept.
So I'm only me till I die, basically, right?
Yeah.
The
But
I part is only
We
till I
are
die.
going to elaborate this topic the next whole 2-3 weeks. This is the topic, but I really want us to understand that. So
Yeah.
these are good questions, right? So who are you?
So here you are identifying I with your body.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're identifying with the body, right? But you have to identify with the body as a gadget, and the name Rajesh Menon or Rajesh Rabindranath or Rohit Mehta or Vijay Reddy or Ratnagar, all these are the name given to the physical body,
Physical body.
right? And then what happens? I have an existence beyond Rajesh Rabindranath.
So do I have a control over my subtle body?
Certainly, means control means see
But
what exactly.
How can I identify myself with the subtle body? Because
Because sometimes it's identification of the subtle body. Like sometimes what happens? You identify with your emotions. Sometimes you identify with your thoughts. Sometimes you identify with your ego.
no, but it's only prevalent till I am alive, right? When it goes to the next rebirth, me as Rajesh Menon has nothing to do with the subtle body. I'm gone.
No, that, no. I think
Right.
yeah, physical body.
Because
right?
that subtle body is
Yeah.
moved on to
So
somebody.
let's say
Now that person is say XYZ, right?
Yeah,
So
I-
he will
I
have
said,
his own
like,
ego and
let's say
his
that
own.
it means the new birth is say in Australia.
Right.
But your karma linked with it. Right?
Correct. The subtle body is, think of it like a software. I love this example because right now this computer has the personality of a word processor.
Right.
If I give to my daughter, suddenly the personality will changes to what?
Games.
Games.
No, that part I understand.
Yeah.
So if you have the software, say on this ThinkPad, right? You have
But what
Windows-
exactly is that software?
No, Windows 10 on ThinkPad.
Yeah.
Now ThinkPad thinks I'm somebody, right? I'm
No,
I'm
that's not the point I
ThinkPad.
was telling. Right?
Ah.
I was telling that the personality of the hardware is determined by the
Right.
software that is running.
True.
So let's say that you got a new life. A software is running in that newly acquired physical body.
True.
What would be the personality of that physical body? It will be determined by
What
the
else?
software that is running, or
True.
it will be determined by the subtle body that is being played in that
Yeah.
physical body, right? So now you are what you are because of why did you come to this class? Could have gone to a bar,
Sure.
or you could have sit and watch all these serials, or go to party. Yeah, Vijay tells if you go to these party goers or Vedanta, they will make fun of you. And people make fun of me also. What are you doing? You're wasting all your time.
So can I fix my subtle body in such a way that when it goes into the next body,
It is
You know,
yeah.
it's got good stuff in there.
That's what Krishna tells in the 6th chapter. So he tells whatever tuning of the software you have done, right? What exactly is the software you install in this hardware? It will be remigrated there.
So each of the owners who grab the subtle body, whenever it gets into that, can actually fix that subtle
Correct.
body as they're going on.
It is fixed until
You
it
get
merges to the top. That's the idea.
The karma is exhausted.
Exhausted.
So isn't that your sanskar? Actually?
Yeah, that's a samskar. That is samskar is part of the subtle body, right? So this, like right now I go to all these nonsense website and full of malware.
Sure.
What is going to happen? It is transmigrated to the best hardware in the world.
It will go along with the malware. Right?
Yeah. What exactly comes out of that computer?
Yeah.
It is the program that runs on the computer determines the personality of the computer. You may have the best hardware, you may have the uninterrupted power supply, but the software determines. And that is the subtle part.
But there's also your upbringing, right? I mean,
Upbringing is a process to tune your software, because see, once you get it, the karma never stops. It is not static, right? Means 5 years back, what was my personality? That changed now, because karmas every day, right? That is what Vivekananda said. Every word you speak, every experience you have, that is your bringing up belongs there. Every action you do, it will have an effect in you, because it is making the software crazy or it is making the software right. And for some people, that crazy software is what they prefer.
Even to intellectual mind, it makes sense. That is that if we have desires, suppose if I have a desire for a certain TV, then you can bring the TV in your home. If you do not desire, you don't get that, right? Whatever you like, you get into your house. Similarly, if you have a desire, then you need a body to enjoy that one, right? If you don't have a desire, then you don't need a body then.
Yeah. So these things cannot be proven, right?
So now if my subtle body is screwed up, I can blame the previous guy who owned my subtle body, right? Saying you didn't do a good job. That's why I have to
Previous guy
fix.
is what? See,
It's me again, right? I mean, in a
it
different
is
form.
you, right?
Oh, man.
You got.
You can't blame anyone.
You cannot blame anybody. Karma,
it's your karma.
karma is not fate.
Yeah.
We don't believe in fate.
So
It makes you more responsible.
Yes.
So basically, it is just me in a different name every
Correct.
time, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
I have to keep fixing myself till I reach there.
See, you got the meaning of that words. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why you don't need to be mourning or you don't need to be extremely sorrow when this physical body loses. Krishna tells, don't worry, you're getting reborn in another place. That's all. But for that to understand, you have to understand. There are three things I was telling. There are three entities you have to understand. One is, what is that entity which is born at the time of your birth and which is died at the time of the death. There is another entity which moves from one body to the other. And there is a third entity which nothing happens to that entity. It remains changeless. And that is what is Atma. Subtle.
But Sukshma, physical body and subtle body, we are not talking about the cause.
Causal body is it is a convenient means to pack subtle body at the time of
Start of
pralaya. So once the cycle is over, right, the subtle body cannot stay. So what happens? The subtle body will be pulled back in the form of a seed, and that is called causal body.
And also, it's unreasonable to think that in our current knowledge we would be able to grasp everything. Is it right? And however much our mind tries to grasp around this concept that is.
This can be intellectually understood. Like if you put a little bit of effort, right? It's not that I was trying to say is what Swami Tadatmananda was telling. Like he was telling, yes, I know that this cannot be proven, right? There is no way I can prove that yesterday you were somebody else and tomorrow you will be somebody. But when you believe something, see, what is that? The definition of the belief is that an assumption or a hypothesis which is subjected to correction upon verification. Right? That's the definition of a belief. So the belief, this is our non-verifiable belief. But when you believe in something, believe something reasonable. This is a little bit reasonable. You have a logic or a sequence here.
Yeah.
So instead of saying that you will be permanently put into a heaven or permanently put into a hell, I'm not criticizing anybody, I'm just telling, right? I'm presenting two different point of views and telling. When you try to believe something reasonable.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I mean, this is one of the argument I make with my Christian friends. That is, if they think there's only one life, you commit to Jesus, after death, that's it, you're completely taken care of. So this finite karma cannot result in the infinite result. That is it. It doesn't make sense to our intellectual thinking also. That.
Yeah. And also, right, even in Christianity, I talked about this in the Gita class. At the time of death, you don't cease to exist. Right? The soul, the so-called soul, that is why I was not using the term soul, because the common meaning of soul is what is being taught in this biblical tradition.
Yeah.
So the soul will be in a suspended animated state. Mind you, in a suspended animated state.
That soul is incorrectly translated to Atma.
Correct.
Yeah.
Soul is incorrectly translated to Atma.
So that's basically a subtle body, right?
Yeah, that's why I said loosely, because the Christian soul and the subtle body are slightly different. That's why I was using the word very careful in my terminology, right? So the soul, the so-called soul, will be in a suspended animated state, and it will be resurrected at the time of
Judgment.
final judgment day.
Yeah.
And the Christian concept of heaven is a physical place, because you need a body to go there.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why a body is given to you, and if you're lucky, you're permanently in heaven.
Right.
Otherwise, gone. So this is,
Yeah.
so think through this, because see, when they preach to you that you have reincarnation and you have all these things, karma, put a little bit more logic.
I think Christianity works for a lot of people, who are like, very afraid. They really need something, hang on to that. It really works. That don't worry anything.
The religion
Jesus
basically
plays
plays onto that.
Yeah.
I think I'm not
Yeah.
saying that Jesus'
But not
teachings goes
Christianity.
beyond that. Okay, so if you really think of, see, the common practice of Christianity is far away removed from the teachings of the Jesus.
Yeah.
My suggestion is, if anybody have doubt on Jesus, right, just go and read the Gospel of John, 10 verses.
Book of Jesus.
Book of John.
Book of
It's 10 verses. It's like an Upanishad.
Yeah.
One day we will cover that. I really wanted to do one portion of the Bible.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell you one thing, right? Where is the kingdom of God? Jesus was asked. So, where is the kingdom of God? Jesus, one of his parables, he tells people, look for the kingdom of God. They say that kingdom of God is here. They say that kingdom of God is there. But I am telling you, kingdom of God is within me. So Jesus' teaching is very clear. But the problem is, even if there is a master, the disciple has to follow what the master has to understand, right? Conceive. So that's the problem. Like, and another problem, another challenge with Bible, that is there with Gita also. Only thing is that the Gita, the Upanishad, the source scriptures or writings are still alive. You can always go to the source and contemplate that. But what happens from Aramis? This got translated into Greek.
Right.
And from Greek, it came to English. And there are at least 2,000 translations of Bible. And if you take King James Version and with some other version, you can see exact opposite meaning.
Sure.
So the context sensitivity, like Gita, some of the commentaries, if you read the Gita, I'm 100% sure Krishna will get confused on the teachings of the Gita. Because it's completely opposite. That's why this traditional teaching comes into the picture. So luckily for us, that's what I always tell. In Vedanta or in our tradition, the greatest gift is not what we teach. Other masters also taught the same thing. Because if you take the kingdom of God is within me, that's exactly the same teaching. No doubt about it.
Yeah. See,
But
we should not forget the context, the historical context. At that time in the Greek, there's so much violence was there, so much corruption, so much of abuse of the women, children there, right? So it is tailored to fit that one.
And also the masters gives teachings to that generation.
Yes.
So, and because when fourth chapter we'll see, Krishna tells how this teaching gets corrupted.
Yeah.
The fourth chapter opening verse is like that. It tells like, yeah, what happens? Sometimes these practitioners becomes corrupt. And from there, what happens? And we can see in our priesthood, right, in Vedic religion, how a tradition which asked us to treat, like Gita 6th chapter, you will see, and the 5th chapter, you will see, like a dog, a dog eater, and a spiritual person, and an elephant, and a cow, you should see equally. In 6th chapter also, we studied one verse right now, right? Who is the enlightened master? He will see himself in every being. When Jesus said, now love their neighbor like you, right? The two commandments of Jesus is very popular. One is, love your God with all your heart and all your mind. Krishna tells the same thing in the 12th chapter. Mai arpita mano buddhi, yo me bhaktaha, sacha me priyaha. A devotee whose mind and intellect is